Targeting teens with relatable content has become quite the challenge for film companies. From representing cliques and girl drama to murder mysteries, companies must strike a delicate balance to avoid appearing forced or offending their audience, particularly with a push for better representation of minorities and voicing opinions on socio-political topics. Media production companies turn to current affairs and audience voices. Social media has provided the audience with a voice heard by production companies, which is causing films and shows to become increasingly tailored based on the audience. I'll be discussing and examining two shows which receive contrasting responses and assess their success, representation of teenagers, and the impact of audiences' voice. Heartbreak High is a Netflix reboot of the 1994 series updated to target Gen Z. The series follows Amory, who, after conflicts with her best friend Harper and the incest map scandal, befriends Quinny and Darren. Together, they and their classmates navigate high school as well as love, sex, and relationships. 13 Reasons Why released 5 years earlier on Netflix and spans for 4 seasons, exploring mental health, drugs, alcohol, gun violence, and relationships. Primarily following Clay Jensen, the first season delves into Hannah Baker's death and the tapes she left dedicated to a handful of her peers, sharing her experience and struggles at Liberty High School. Audience opinion and reception play a crucial role in the success or failure of media, especially among teenagers. Social media has given audiences a platform to voice their opinions and criticize TV shows and movies. The interaction between audience and media can vary from passive to active, as described by Cooper and Tang's article. Additionally, two key models of media delivery include the hypodermic needle and two-step flow model, which we can use to analyze the audience's role in the success of these shows. The hypodermic needle model encompasses the idea of media and messaging being a powerful tool of influence used to inject into the audience's subconscious, characterizing the audience as quite vulnerable and thoughtless. Lazarsfield's two-step flow model opposes the idea and instead emphasizes the active role of the audience members and the influence of opinion leaders. The hypodermic needle model was a long-standing concept, however, over time has become less accepted when understanding the audience. As we know, the audience is not mindless viewers who can't think for themselves, as shown by the audience of both Heartbreak High and 13 Reasons Why. The two-step flow model is more suited to understanding the two-way communication between audience and production team. Heartbreak High received positive reviews with a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. The show was praised for its portrayal of autistic character Quinny and LGBTQ+ character Darren, as well as a relatable depiction of teen relationships. A recent tweet by one user stated, "Heartbreak High fearlessly tackles important and deep issues that resonate with its target audience, ensuring young folk feel seen and understood." The series is also praised for the way they handle topics with sincerity while maintaining the Gen Z humor seen throughout the show. Overall, the show's grounded yet light-hearted tone and writing of teen relationships made for an entertaining show which resonated with many audience members. 13 Reasons Why also received a high rating on IMDb at 7.5 out of 10, however received a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes, reflecting the audience's opinion. Tweets from 2017 included one user stating, "The whole series is about fantasizing unhealthy and unsafe ideas," and a handful of some sharing their voice on how the show handled sexual assault. The series has faced many criticisms of problematic character writing and unnecessary inclusion of scenes, such as graphic rape and suicide scenes, which distorted the intended message. The representation of characters plays a significant role in the success or failures of shows. The past few years have seen a push for addressing underrepresentation of gender, sexuality, mental health, and race, and companies like Netflix are aware of the importance of this representation. However, achieving accurate representation can be challenging, as one misstep can lead to online criticism. Despite the risk, showcasing diverse cultures, identities, and ideologies on screen is crucial. The encoding-decoding model presented by Stuart Hall encompasses the idea that senders, the screenwriters and producers, encode media with the intended message, which the audience receives, decodes, and interprets. The audience's interpretation is influenced and developed on the individual, their ideology, and characteristics. This concept must be considered by production teams to avoid misconstrued interpretations of their intended message. The character Quinny garnered much praise during the airing of Heartbreak High, with a depiction of autism and sexuality. The show moves away from the stereotypical depiction of autistic characters being highly intelligent and socially awkward, and instead presents Quinny as deeply empathetic with advanced social skills. Chloe Hayden, who played Quinny, is autistic herself and was outspoken about the accurate portrayal and representation of autism on screen. Users online were also actively voicing their support for the improved representation of autism, with one user tweeting, "Now this is the quality autistic representation we've all been needing. I love this. Quinny is easily the favorite." The show is an example of effective communication of encoding messaging, with most audience members of the current generation viewing the characters as their intended flawed and fleshed out versions of themselves. In contrast, 30 Reasons Why poorly encodes their messages and representation, leading to many negative interpretations. Although Netflix intended to spark conversation, some perceive the show as glorifying and romanticizing mental health struggles, which it does to an extent. Particularly the later seasons, the show faced criticism for how it presented sensitive topics and deviated from its intended messages, spiraling into a melodramatic soap opera of cliches carelessly trying to portray teen drama. The push for accurate representation, along with the concept of encoding and decoding, influences how audiences perceive media. Heartbreak High successfully represents diverse characters, while 13 Reasons Why faced criticism for its handling of sensitive topics. These examples highlight the significance of accurate and thoughtful representation in media. The power of social media and the ability for audiences to voice their opinions has transformed the dynamics between viewers and media content. It has allowed the audience to take part in shaping the representation, success, and outcome of these shows. And with the sheer size of social media, it is hard for media companies to ignore. As mentioned, 13 Reasons Why faced a significant shift in audience reception from garnering attention to its bold exploration of sensitive topics to criticism and concern surrounding the portrayal of such topics. Concern arose about the depiction of mental health and suicide would cause a contagion effect. Spokesperson Kathy Cowan stating the way suicide is portrayed and the build-up to the suicide could trigger suicide contagion or copycat behavior. Social media became a breeding ground for discussions surrounding the show's portrayal of self-harm, as well as sexual assault and toxic relationships. After the release of the first season, Netflix addressed some of the concerns surrounding the show by including explicit warnings at the start of the season, as well as the 3 most graphic episodes. Furthermore, a tweet by the series promoted the problematic relationship between the characters Justin Foley and Jessica Davis, caused many to call out the show. This caused them to remove the tweet and address it online. Recent years have demonstrated a shift in writing, comedy, and representation with the audience being more independently thinking, unlike the hypodermic needle model. Think of the jokes and comments made in late 90s to early 2000s sitcoms, which to the current generation leave a poor taste in your mouth. Although this can be attributed to the change of generational norms, media companies have listened to the voice of the current progressive and outspoken audience of today when approaching their show's content. 5 years later, we can see the development Netflix has made in representing teenagers in the media. Heartbreak High demonstrates Netflix's ability to effectively represent marginalized communities such as the LGBTQ+ community, people of color, and those with autism. The positive reception was amplified through social media platforms, where audiences started to share their appreciation for the authentic and respectful portrayal of these characters. The audience embraced the show's relatable themes, genuine character development, and the injection of Gen Z humor, further solidifying its positive reception. The change from how Netflix approaches teen media in 13 Reasons Why to Heartbreak High has demonstrated the importance of the audience in the success or failure of media. Social media platforms have empowered audiences to voice their opinions and shape the discourse surrounding TV shows. These examples emphasize the audience's power in shaping the media in today's digital landscape, which production teams have become increasingly aware of. Netflix has shown they are starting to take audiences' feedback and incorporate it into their decision-making process when creating new shows or moving forward with current series.